A seismic shift is coming to Formula One in 2026. The battle lines are being drawn not on the track, but deep inside the engine bays. We've been handed a stack of intelligence detailing this fierce internal debate raging at Mercedes-AMG, and the incredibly ambitious, almost brazen claims flying out of the new Honda-Aston Martin partnership. Our mission in this deep dive is simple. We are cutting through all the paddock chatter to analyze the core strategic and technological advantages each side thinks they have for this new era. We're unpacking who is better positioned for that critical initial engine homologation. That's the deadline that freezes designs, and where the real, immediate power fight is going to be won. So let's just get into it. Mercedes, the titans of the hybrid era, they're not just worried about Ferrari or Red Bull, no. Their focus is entirely on a single customer operation, Aston Martin and Honda. And the drama is just, it's palpable because their own engine chief and their team principal, TOTO WOLFF, are openly debating the threat.
Yeah, the intelligence we're seeing from Brackley, it confirms this fundamental strategic anxiety. Mercedes views Honda as a clear threat for 2026. And what's so fascinating is that this fear, it isn't based on 2025 performance. It's purely about logistics and the new regulation timeline. The disagreement inside their own house tells the whole story.
And that disagreement is a classic F1 conflict, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
data versus agility. On
Right.
one side, you've got HYWEL Thomas, Mercedes engine chief. He's all in on the data argument. He's relying on sheer volume.
Right.
He's saying, look, we have 3 customer teams, McLaren, Williams, now Alpine, plus our factory team. That gives us superior data collection, more feedback, more engineers working on it. That's 16 engines out there all generating intel.
And I mean, on paper, that sounds absolutely bulletproof, right? More running, more data, more solutions.
Of course.
But this is where TOTO WOLFF comes in and just shatters that whole premise with the agility argument. WOLFF is looking at the massive, immediate logistical burden. He's saying Mercedes has to manufacture something like 16 of these incredibly complex power units for all 4 of their teams.
16.
And then you look at Honda. They need, what, 4? Maybe 5? And all of them just for Aston Martin.
That's not just a difference, that's a chasm in manufacturing complexity.
It absolutely is.
Huh?
And WOLFF has said openly that this scale, it just severely lengthens their production cycles. It introduces lag. And he believes that lack of manufacturing agility is such a critical disadvantage that Mercedes is actually thinking about a radical step.
Which is?
Reducing its customer base to just 2 teams, just to cut the manufacturing demand and free up time.
That is a staggering business decision, and it's driven purely by strategic fear. But why is that agility so critical right now? It all comes down to the ticking clock for homologation.
Precisely. This is the detail we need to put under the microscope. That deadline for the 2026 power unit design, the moment it's locked down or homologated, is set for before March 1st, February 28th at the absolute latest. This is the pinch point.
So, just for anyone catching up, what does homologation actually mean in this context?
It's essentially the governing body freezing the primary design. Once that date hits, the fundamental parts, the combustion engine, the turbo, and crucially most of the electrical architecture are locked down for the long term.
You can tweak things, but the core concept is fixed.
Exactly. And our sources are emphasizing that the preseason testing, those few days in late January or early February, they're going to be virtually useless for making any fundamental changes before that deadline.
Useless. Why? Can't they just overnight some parts?
No chance. You don't redesign a V6 turbo hybrid power unit and its new electrical systems in a week. The complexity is just immense. The time between the final test day and the homologation date is a matter of days. So if Mercedes finds a fundamental flaw in testing, they won't have the time or the production capacity to build, test, and validate a different solution for 16 engines before the design is locked.
So Honda, needing only 4 or 5, has the freedom to push their final development decisions much later. They can run a more aggressive final test and then just lock in the best solution at the last possible second.
That is the core strategic conflict. Mercedes is betting that their long-term data collection will eventually win out. WOLFF is worried they're sacrificing the immediate launch pace you need to win the early battles of 2026.
This segment is part of our news coverage of recent F1 events. And that detail, the homologation timeline, it just turns the whole data is better argument on its head for the start of the season.
It creates a huge psychological advantage for Honda. They know Mercedes is forced to commit early while they get to hold their cards. It's a very, very smart use of the rulebook.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about Honda. Because the intelligence makes it clear. The Honda of 2026 is a completely different beast from the one that struggled so badly with McLaren back in 2015.
Oh, totally. They didn't just gain F1 experience. They mastered hybrid technology across multiple global racing series. They know how to handle these big transitions.
Let's break down that proof because the track record is just startling. Look at INDYCAR. Honda kept its dominance with Alex Palou even after the hybrid engine was introduced mid-2024. They just kept winning through the chaos.
And then there's their Acura program in IMSA. With the new hybrid-focused GTP regulations, they immediately dominated. They won the Daytona 24 hours, 3 years straight, 2023, 2024, and 2025.
Wow.
And the crucial part, they got a 1-2 finish in the very first race of that entire new electric era.
That's the definition of mastering a regulation change. It shows they can just deploy these complex electrical systems under immense pressure.
And while F1 is always unique, they've got that critical V6 turbo 1.6L knowledge. The sources are highlighting that the 2026 shift is actually less drastic in architecture than the V8 to V6 change of 2014. The V6 is still there, but now the electric side takes center stage.
Okay, let's dive into that technical shift, because what exactly is changing that makes a hybrid element so much more important?
Two main things. First, the MGUH, the motor generator unit connected to the turbo's heat, is gone, completely removed.
Which was the key to Mercedes' domination.
Exactly. It was super expensive, super complicated. Removing it simplifies things, but gets rid of a key source of stored energy. The second part is the MGUK, the kinetic unit that recovers braking energy. Its capability is almost tripled.
Tripled?
So in 2026, the power delivery is nearly 50-50, roughly 500 horsepower from the engine and around 500 horsepower from the electric side. That massive reliance on the electric part, deploying that huge burst of power without draining the battery, it completely redefines the race.
So it's essentially F1 becoming a hybrid battery race with an engine assisting.
Exactly. And that brings us to the speed they gained through their integration with Aston Martin. Remember that hermetic approach they had with McLaren where everything was separate? That is completely gone.
Replaced by a truly unified team.
Yes. HRC President KOJI Watanabe highlighted this almost fanatical level of collaboration. You have Aston Martin engineers working inside Honda's facility in Sakura and Honda engineers embedded in Silverstone. It's a single-team philosophy.
And overseeing this integration, you have some absolute giants.
Oh, yeah. Adrian Newey is designing the chassis, but the key integration point, the human nexus, is Andy Cowell.
The man who architected Mercedes' entire V6 hybrid domination. So what's his exact role?
He's the critical bridge. He's linking the motor design, the Aramco fuel, the Valvoline lubricant, and the chassis design. Watanabe said Cowell is very useful, constantly available. He understands how to make the engine and the ERS talk to each other perfectly.
That level of seamless, single customer integration, that's what Mercedes fears. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to DRS Zone. Don't forget to subscribe for more F1 content. We're deep diving into the highest stakes engine battle F1 has seen in a decade. Now, let's talk about where Honda is betting its chips. This is the headline-grabbing claim. They are staking their entire reputation on their battery.
This is the aggressive part. Watanabe's key quote puts it plainly. The efficiency will be the decisive factor in the new era of Formula One. And efficiency means managing that massive electrical deployment.
And what do they claim they have to manage it?
They are not being shy about this at all. Honda claims they pride ourselves on having the most advanced battery technology in the world.
Wow.
And this feeds directly into those rumors we've heard, which our sources confirm, that they're testing an innovative, fundamentally different solution in their battery circuits compared to what other teams are running.
So if 2026 is a 50-50 power split, and Honda is claiming superior energy retention and deployment, that's a massive advantage over a lap.
It's the difference between running out of electric assist halfway down a straight and carrying that 500 electric horsepower deep into the braking zone. Honda is basically throwing down a public challenge. They're saying, we have the best batteries, we have the manufacturing agility, and 2026 is a battery race that we are ready to win from day one.
That confidence is just staggering, and the HRC president is backing it up with predictions for the entire regulatory cycle.
He is. We have his most aggressive claim right here. They have the potential to win not only in 2026, but also in 2027, 2028, and beyond. He says they're on the cusp of something very special. This is a clear plan for long-term dominance.
But ambition is cheap in Formula One. Reality is expensive. For all this engine confidence, Aston Martin faces huge foundational challenges on the chassis side that Mercedes just doesn't have.
They absolutely do. This is the massive asterisk on their whole project. The new engine means radical changes to the rear of the car. And for all the brilliance of Newey and Cowell, Aston Martin has to build several critical components from zero for the first time.
Like what? What are we talking about here?
The entire rear suspension architecture, for one. But the single biggest item is the gearbox. Aston Martin has always used Mercedes gearboxes' proven, reliable units. For 2026, they have design, manufacture, and test a bespoke, entirely new gearbox from scratch.
And building a gearbox in F1 from scratch is a reliability nightmare, isn't it? It's one of the most high-stress components in the car.
It's the ultimate logistical and reliability risk. These things have to manage incredible torque loads for thousands of kilometers. Starting from zero means you need massive testing time, which eats into the very limited track days you have. It's a huge commitment that could easily derail a brilliant engine. Even Fernando Alonso mentioned it, down to the pit stop gear itself.
And the internal restructuring doesn't make things easier. You have all these brilliant people starting at different times, Newey in March, Cardile in July, while the clock is just ticking down.
Exactly. They've recruited the brain power, no doubt. But the internal reorganization, the sheer amount of foundational work, it means the timing of their success is genuinely uncertain. You have incredible stability at Honda's engine facility, but you're moving all the pieces around at Silverstone. That introduces variables, and F1 hates variables.
So what does this all mean? When we boil it down, does the engine speed and agility outweigh the huge chassis and gearbox reliability risks?
I think the most realistic projection, based on everything we're seeing, is this. Aston Martin will be highly competitive. They could be an immediate frontrunner.
So winning races.
Absolutely. The Honda engine should give them the advantage to fight for podiums and victories right away. Think of the 2014 Red Bull. A great chassis, but not the title winner immediately because of the power unit integration. Achieving an immediate title fight in 2026 seems like a massive ask, given the infrastructure they have to build.
So they'll be the ultimate sleeper threat. Capable of winning, but maybe not the championship right out of the gate.
Exactly. They've built the perfect engine for the new rules, but they haven't finished building the rest of the car yet.
So we've seen Mercedes is deeply worried about Honda's production agility, fearing they'll lose the initial homologation battle. At the same time, Honda is just brimming with confidence in its battery tech and its unified structure with Aston. The fact that a dominant force like Mercedes is publicly debating Honda as its single biggest threat, that validates everything the Japanese manufacturer is claiming. This isn't just noise. This is strategic fear.
And that brings us back to the crucial question hanging over the next few months. Given that initial engine development hinges entirely on production speed before that March 1st deadline, which factor is going to be more valuable in the early races of 2026? Will it be Mercedes' vast customer data, which takes time to process? Or will it be Honda's single-team focus and manufacturing agility, which lets them freeze the best possible design just days before the deadline?
That is the half-second difference that will define this new era. Don't miss any of our analysis. Follow DRS Zone on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We will be tracking every single development of this power struggle all season long.